If you fall into a black hole and die, could you someday be reborn? Yes, as Hawking radiation. So it turns out that along the perimeter of the event horizon, which is the area that you can't escape from if you go inside of that for a black hole, just on the boundary, there's quantum fluctuations in the vacuum where there's particles of matter and antimatter continuously popping into existence and then recombining and annihilating back into a quantum field. But if it happens at the boundary of an event horizon, one of those particles, either the electron or the positron, could get pulled in and the other one escapes and doesn't annihilate. But it takes energy for that particle to go off, and it has to come from the black hole. So the mass of the black hole evaporates and is Hawking radiation, and your body that's trapped inside the black hole could become that radiation. Is it possible that there's dark matter trapped inside Sagittarius A star, the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way? Yes, this is possible. And in fact, when we look at simulations, we see that there is quite a bit of dark matter predicted at the center of galaxies from these simulations. However, we don't really know because black holes themselves produce a lot of energy, and this energy comes from things actually falling inside of them, producing energy outflows that actually pushes gas and other matter away in shock waves. So we have to look at simulations and new generations of simulations, in fact, to see how dark matter would actually interact with black holes at a higher resolution if we're going to figure out where the dark matter is in relation to supermassive black holes. How could a black hole turn you into a graviton or a bunch of gravitons? Well, as you fell into the black hole, you would be crushed, and you would be crushed into such a small volume that all the forces, the Pauli exclusion forces, like the Fermi degeneracy pressure, the electron degeneracy pressure, and the neutron degeneracy pressure, to be specific, because there's two forms, they would be overwhelmed. And so all your mass energy would suddenly be able to pile up into a single state. You would no longer be composed out of fermions. You would be made out of bosons now. And bosons can all pile up into the single state. So you could be crushed into a state that's just basically a point in space and time, and it would be a particle like gravitons, and it wouldn't violate either theory. Somebody recently asked me, what would it actually feel like to fall inside a black hole? Well, as you approached the black hole and got closer and closer, the passage of time for you compared to an observer far away from the black hole would change immensely. Time would go much slower for you than it did when you were far away from the black hole. But you wouldn't notice this at all. You wouldn't have any perception of the time passage changing. You can't perceive that. However, you would perceive the intense tidal force, which is caused by the force of gravity from the black hole being much stronger on your feet than your head. The gravitational field of a black hole is so strong that a significant tidal difference or a tidal force exists, and it would literally snap you in half.